Welcome to r/Tales from Retail, where we take a closer look at some of the rude, entitled, and sometimes totally unexplainable situations that retail workers deal with on a daily basis. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you? Well, Nickel decided to show up anyway. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Here's my second episode of Tales from Retail. Enjoy! My favorite story from when I worked returns. Worked customer service / returns desk at a big box home improvement store during college. And this is the one that still makes me smile at humanity's brashness. Woman comes in with an entire cart full of individually boxed CFL bulbs. I want to return these. Can you look it up on my card? She tries to hand me her credit card. I'm no slouch at this game, but even I am astonished and simultaneously amused at her gambit. Man, these are the Earth Day CFL bulbs we gave out for free with purchase all day yesterday. She's completely unfazed by this. She had her next lines practiced. No, I purchased these. Look it up on the card. Waves the card at me again, trying to get me to take it. Nope. I pick up a box from the cart. Ma'am, look here. Where the barcode usually is? No barcode. It says promotional item. I cannot look it up or return it. She pauses to consider this as if it's news to her. Okay, I'll take store credit then. I almost fell over the counter laughing. Went over the tapes with the LP later, and she sat out there in the parking lot for hours the day before, asking customers for their free CFL bulbs. Wow. Yeah, that lady had some nerve, didn't she? It's bad enough collecting up stuff that you didn't buy to try to return it to begin with, but then to try to collect up free promotional items and try to return them? That's just weird. Got high off the homeless guy's crack. So the grocery store that I work at has an incredibly prolific problem with homeless people, shoplifting, and drug use. It's so bad that because the public bathrooms are next to the customer service desk, anyone in that general area can smell burned Cheerios wafting around pretty much from morning to night. If you all didn't know, burning heroin smells kind of similar to burned Cheerios, and I henceforth refer to any drug usage in our bathrooms as someone smoking Cheerios. However, this particular night was really bad, and I was up at the desk with two of my other coworkers, and the stench was just overpowering. The presumed owner of the paraphernalia had been wandering around about 10 minutes earlier before disappearing, and then emerging from the bathroom, so we hoped he was kind of done, and we were planning on hitting up the bathrooms with copious amounts of Febreze just to keep things tolerable. I went to our little office room to deposit some money while my coworker went to the bathroom to check everything out. I come back out a minute or two later and he walks out and he goes, "Guys, I'm high. We're calling the cops." Apparently our guest left some foil with residues still fuming on the floor, and my coworker walked over it when he went into the bathroom and got a decent-sized whiff, enough to become a little bit intoxicated. It turns out my other coworker, who was at the customer service desk, also was affected just by the sheer volume of smell, and they both ended up being checked out in the ambulance that arrived with the disposal team. The cops just flushed it down the toilet and told us to air out the bathrooms, so we closed the desk down for the rest of the night, and it was pretty quiet from there on out. But let it be said, bathrooms are pretty much the melting pot of all unpleasant events that can happen in a retail store. You got that right. Even back in the early 80s when I used to pump gas in New Jersey, our bathrooms were the place where people went to do their unsavory things. The bar I bounced at after the service was the same way. That bathroom was a busy place, man. Men, women, single, together, paraphernalia, sometimes other acts. Ugh. Going above and beyond? I worked for a grocery store in the late 90s, early 2000s. The boss was super into going above and beyond with customers. This meant that if someone asked a question about one of our products, we would bust it open for them to sample, things like that. So anyway, this lady asked if she could borrow a cake mix box for a second so she could copy the recipe. She didn't want to buy it, but she wanted the recipe. I took the box, photocopied the recipe for her, and sent her on her merry way. She wound up being a mystery shopper and gave me a great review. This was a great rarity for my usual not figuring out how to helpness. Remember, this was before camera phones were a thing. I guess I could have given her the box of cake, but she said this was the perfect solution that keeps money in the company's pocket while helping the customer in an unexpected way. She was literally asking for printer paper and a pen to copy it down. Ah, the 90s. That really was above and beyond. That's pretty cool. Like the mystery shopper said, you got to keep money in the till, customer got what they wanted. Well, person got what they wanted, they weren't really a customer. It's a win-win. I used to work retail and this older man was weird from the beginning, asking me how much commission do I make, etc. After telling him I do make commission, he started putting headphones, VRs, wireless chargers on the desk, and he asked me to bring him the most expensive phone we have. It was weird. He also made weird eye contact with me. Just wasn't right. Anyways, he tells me, I forgot my wallet in my truck. I'll be right back. And then laughing, he tells me, I'm coming back with a shotgun and shooting the place up. Oh my God. And he laughed. Two things went through my head. One, I'd tell my manager, but if the man was joking, customers would get scared and just end up wrong, and I didn't want to get in trouble even for doing the right thing. Two, our counters and desks were full marble, so I would duck down and maneuver my way out. I would be capable. I was just sweating my butt off. I see him come out of his truck. No shotgun. He came back, bought everything he put on the counter, and just left like nothing. Because I get commission, I'm able to see if a customer returns an item. He never returned them. I still don't understand if he was serious, but decided not to do it. Holy cow! I don't know how long ago that was, but anytime in the last 5-10 years somebody says they're coming back with a shotgun, you immediately run up and lock the door with the phone in your hand dialing 911. No way would I ever take a chance on that being a joke. Trust no one. Guy sues due to missing part and injury. Where I used to work, we had a customer come in and buy a table saw. A few days later, he came in saying his son's hand was injured by the blade because there was no blade guard. My manager at the time asked me to go find the same table saw, open the box, and check to see if it came with a guard. I confirmed they did and told my manager with the customer standing there. The customer replied, I didn't bother coming to ask you guys and didn't think much of it because I know some table saws don't come with a guard. At least from what I witnessed, this guy wasn't irate or anything like that. From what I heard, his son was an early teenager, very inexperienced with tools. My guess is he let his son use the saw without supervision. Me and my manager figured either the guard was missing or most of the time, like I saw, it was taped into a styrofoam pocket and he didn't see it. The customer claimed he threw out all the boxes and foam. A few days later, my bosses are informed the store and the corporation are being sued by the customer because of the injury his son got. My manager asked me to write down a statement of what the customer said regarding some saws don't come with guards. During the lawsuit, the customer would still come into shop and was baffled why he wouldn't get service. One staff member said, because you're actively suing us, we can't help you when you're taking us to court. I'm not entirely sure of the end result. All I know is my store was cleared by court of any wrongdoing, and it was then between him and corporate. Okay, you gave those two options. It was taped and he didn't see it, or it really didn't come with it. Most of the time what I've found is people just won't install it. It's a pain in the butt, it's in the way. I'm one of those guys. But my kids don't use that saw unsupervised either. Several of them don't use it at all. I've been a carpenter since I was a kid and I have no problem using a guardless table saw at all. Not saying it couldn't turn and bite me in the butt later, but that's the way I've done it for years. And I can almost guarantee that's what this guy did. He just ignored it. No, he's banned from Fortnite. Hey, talking to my boyfriend about future kids and how we want them to get into gaming as much as we both love it, and the downsides that might come along with it. When I remembered this story from my days working in a gaming shop, decided let's post up here since my boyfriend was in fits of laughter hearing this. So like I said, I worked in a gaming shop, selling consoles, games, console credit, etc. You get it. This was when Fortnite had become pretty huge, and a lot of news stories were coming out about kids running up parents' credit cards on hundreds worth of V-Bucks. So on this day, a woman comes up to the counter with her son, who must have been no older than 9, I'd say. She's buying a PS, top up, and me. Trying to make small talk, I say, oh, let me guess, is this for V-Bucks by any chance? The kid's face kind of sours as his mom replies something along the lines of, no, he's banned from Fortnite. At which point she turns to her son and says, tell the lassie what you did. Go on, tell her. The kid pulls a face, makes a little whiny noise, and runs off behind some shelves. Guys, this small child beat up his dad. His mom tells me the story about how they tried to calm him down for dinner, but he wouldn't budge. His dad then walked into his room to tell him it's dinner time, put down the controller, but was once again ignored. So he switched off the console. Kid throws a fit and flies for his dad, throwing punches, kicking, biting. He's really not happy his game was cut short. I think the only words I could come up with at that point were, oh geez, before finishing up the transaction, wishing her a nice day, and then proceeding to run in the back and nearly pissing myself laughing. I don't know how big this 9-year-old was, but let me tell you something. If I tell my kids it's time for dinner, for chores, whatever, and I get that kind of reaction, next move for that console is in the trash. Better yet, I'd probably give it to somebody who really wants a console but can't afford one. They can donate it. Guess you're not going to finish that burger. We're experiencing a lull in New Year's Eve celebrants. A taxi pulls up to my liquor store, and a guy gets out. As he wanders in, I do my initial assessment. Guy's a semi-regular, familiar to me, not alcohol restricted, and not generally a problem. He's a bit wobbly perhaps, but not outside the bounds of service at first glance. He finds a fifth of white rum and steps up to the counter. I ring him up, tell him his total, and he just kind of stares at me for a second, glassy-eyed. Uh-oh, this guy's a lot more over the limit than I thought. I'm starting to smell a lot more jubilation than I expected. Customer. Oh yeah, money. Hang on a sec. Does the self-pat down. Pants pockets are apparently a no-go, so he rummages in his hoodie pouch. He pulls out a wad of non-currency papers, receipts, post-its, notebook paper, and a moose plushie for some reason. He's managed to snag by the antlers with his right hand, stares at it for a second, sees no money, so he decides to see what's in the other hand. With his left hand, out of the same pocket, he withdraws what used to be fast food cheeseburger, half-eaten, unwrapped, and deconstructed by the stresses of unprotected pocket transport. Ugh. He stares at the ex-cheeseburger as if it betrayed him, drops it on the floor, tells me, hang on a second, be right back. Stumbles out the door, leaving a nice ketchup and cheese handprint on the window. He climbs back into his cab, which leaves almost immediately. By the time I clock out several hours later, he has not returned. Dude had to be totally wasted. Oh my gosh. Plushy moose, a half-eaten cheeseburger with no wrapping. Oh, it just amazes me still how trashed some people will get. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Click this one here on the screen. I think you're going to enjoy that one too. See ya.